Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could give us a 5-star rating and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It'll help us to guide more people to the podcast. Thank you. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 170 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The foreign minister of the Czech Republic presiding in the European Council, Jan Lipavsky, confirmed that at the end of August the EU countries would discuss a possible visa ban for all Russians because of the full-scale war against Ukraine, reports Ukrinform. Lipavsky believes that a complete ban on visas for Russians by all EU member states could be another very effective sanction against Russia. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the Czech Republic, the Baltic states, and other countries that brought the issue of visas for citizens of Russia to the official level of discussion in Europe. He stressed that there are people who are persecuted in Russia and therefore they should receive help from the civilized world. This help can be provided via refugee status and asylum requests, but it should not apply to the rest of Russian citizens in Europe, tourism, entertainment, business affairs. According to Zelensky, there must be a guarantee that Russian murderers and implementers of the state terror will not come to Europe. Quote, "You cannot turn Europe into a supermarket where it does not matter who enters, the main thing is that a person simply pays for the goods. Therefore, visa restrictions for citizens of the Russian Federation are fair and all defenders of European values should insist on them." Unquote. President Volodymyr Zelensky suggested the Ukrainian parliament, the Verkhovna Rada, to extend the period of martial law and general mobilization in Ukraine by 90 days, reports Interfax Ukraine. Currently, both periods are expected to end on August 23rd. The UK M270 multiple launch rocket systems arrived in Ukraine, reports Radio Liberty. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov thanked the British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace and all the British people. He announced that more quote-unquote gifts will arrive soon. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that the enemy is concentrating its efforts on establishing full control over the territories of the Lugansk and Donetsk regions, reports Unian. The Russian forces are also focusing on maintaining control over the temporarily occupied areas of the Kherson region and parts of the Kharkiv, Zaporizhia and Mykolaiv regions. Head of the UK military intelligence, Jim Hockenhull, doesn't expect substantial changes on the battlefield in Ukraine this year, reports Gazeta UA. In an interview to the BBC, Hockenhull noted that there will be counterattacks and counteroffensives, but without decisive developments. He believes that Putin may resort to the use of tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine if he feels the threat of defeat, but it is unlikely to happen in the near future. The probability may change if the dynamics on the battlefield change. According to the US Institute for the Study of War, the Kremlin is reportedly attempting to mobilize industry to support prolonged war efforts in Ukraine, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to Ukrainian intelligence, the Kremlin initiated the industrial mobilization of the defense enterprises in early August, banning some employees of the state-owned military industry from taking vacations. It is also expected that Russia will increase expenditures of this year's state defense budget by approximately $10 billion. Ukraine's security and defense forces released a joint statement calling on foreign countries to prevent the trial of Ukrainian prisoners of war that is planned by the occupying forces in Mariupol, reports Interfax Ukraine. They also asked to send representatives of international organizations to the places where Ukrainian prisoners of war are kept. Out of 2.5 thousand of the defenders of Mariupol who were forced to surrender to Russians after the long siege, only 95 were exchanged so far. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.